Okay, good morning, everybody. Huge mazel tov to everybody. Baruch Hashem, we finished the entire Sefer. So everybody needs to give themselves a massive clap, tap on the back, whatever it is that makes you happy. We did it. And if you happen to miss any of the shiurim, they are available on our YouTube channel. So check out our YouTube channel. Also, get pumped. We are Mitzvah Hashem starting our next Maamar on Sunday. Oh, I didn't bring it with me. But we are starting our next Maamar on Sunday. So get excited. It's going to be amazing. The Maamar, actually, our next Maamar, has the theme is very, very powerful. It's one of the most memorable Farbrengens, maamarim, as part of a Farbrengen that the Rebbe gave over. And it's our Rebbe, so this is for our generation. It is very relevant, very, very practical. And it even has, we have, from many people that know, Mrs. Shani Jacobson's father. So she donated a bunch of books for our Living Chassidus, and many of our Living Chassidus members have read them. It's called The Portrait of a Chassid. And in The Portrait of a Chassid, he actually was there when this Maamar was given. This is the Maamar we're starting, not the Maamar we just finished, but the Maamar we're going to start on Sunday. So he was actually there, and part of his diary entries was him speaking about the Rebbe giving over this Maamar and how powerful it was, and how the Rebbe actually got very emotional during the. I'm going to try my best because I'm pretty sure that there is a recording of it, if I remember correctly. Maybe not. I have to double check, but if there is a recording of it, there's a part where the Rebbe actually stops and he starts to cry. So it's a very, very, very powerful Maamar about finding our personal shlichus. It's about using our time wisely. It's about the Abuster's brachas that he gives us by putting us in this world. It is very, very, very powerful. So please join us starting Sunday for this really monumental Maamar. The Maamar in English, in Hebrew, is called Leisia Mishakela, and in English we're going to use the version from the Chassidic Heritage series called Full Devotion. Get super excited. Okay, now today I wanted to invite everybody, even if you haven't listened to every single one of the shiurim, or if you hadn't caught up or whatever, I wanted to invite everybody for this Farbrengen, because I feel like this Farbrengen is going to mainly big time discuss some of the practical lessons we can learn, not just from this last Maamar that we learned, but from both Maamarim, because we worked really hard, and everything, as it says in Vav Teves, the Hayamim for Vav Teves, that every single concept in Chassidus, even the most lofty concept, has to live. It has to be lived. It has a message in our avodah, which means living Chassidus needs to be lived, and we've worked really hard. I can tell from everybody and their feedback that they've given that these two Maamarim have really made an impact, not just in their Pesach, but in their davening and in their general viewpoint and perspective in the world, which is perfect. That is exactly what Living Chassidus is all about. We're here to give everybody Hashem glasses. So, for me personally, one of my favorite parts out of these two Maamarim was getting to know the structure. Both Maamarim had very similar structure about that it wasn't just originally, and just like every Maamar, I want to give everybody a heads up about all Chassidus. There's usually a question and there's usually an answer at the end, whether it's a Maamar or a Sicha. But just realize that it's not about the question and the answer. It's not about, the question and the answer is beautiful and there's a lot to be gained, and it is Torah learning. But don't get stuck in the question and the answer. That's not the point. The point is the message that the Maamar is trying to give us, and that's usually in the meaty stuff in between. That's usually in the concept of Chassidus that are explained to be able to get from question to answer in a clear way, right? So one of the most beautiful messages, which many of us have heard for years, but I think it was very, very powerfully delivered by the Rebbe in the first Maamar that we learned, was this concept of Mitzrayim and Mitzrayim. And the practical and relevant aspect of it is really those things that hold us back. Many of us have, I'll say many, but I'm pretty sure all of us have something in our lives that holds us back, whether it's a fear, whether it's an insecurity, whether it's some negative voice telling us we're not good enough, or we can't do this, or we can't do that, or I have this negative habit that holds me back, but I can't get out of it. Whatever that is for you, we all have that one thing that is our mitzrayim. It's our maamarim. They hold us back. They constrain us, and they say, I will never be the type of person I want to be because I can't get up on time. I can't, get to places on time. I can't understand a certain language. I can't figure out my time management, or whatever that is for each and every one of us. We have something that holds us back. And this Maamar gave us this ability to just break right through. How did it do so? By explaining to us this concept of the Abuster creates those maamarim, those maamarim, for us. And the Abuster is the one that creates the world. And so therefore the Abuster, just like some of them are self-created by ourselves, meaning our minds, our Yetzer Hara is telling us we can't do this. And since the Abuster creates this concept, he can also take it away, which means we also have the power to live beyond that. We have the power to say, that is no longer true. And one of the practical tips I gave everybody when we learned that Maamar, was the concept of changing your wording about what holds you back. So for example, if let's say for some of us, I'm guilty of this because I stayed up late last night working on the form, but for some of us it might be, I can't go to bed on time. So instead of saying I can't go to bed on time, we can say I'm working on going to bed on time, or I'm improving at my skill at working of going to bed on time. Whether that feels true or not, the moment we change our mindset, we change our words, just like the Abuster, we can choose to end that matzar. We can choose to end that constraint that holds us back. So that was a beautiful lesson that I learned from the first Maamar that we learned. Another beautiful lesson that I learned from the first Maamar was this concept of 1 second, where is it? Here we go. Of this most stunning story of the Alter Rebbe, which I live with, and I thrive off of this story, that the Alter Rebbe used to say, and the fact that the Thoughtless quotes it as used to say means it wasn't just a one-time thing. It would happen multiple times, that whenever the Alter Rebbe was in Dveikus, was in this state of thinking about the Abuster and connecting to Hashem in a more proactive way, he used to say, I just lost the page again. Sorry, 1 second. Here we go. I do not want anything. I do not want your Gan Eden. I do not want your Olam Haba. All I want is you yourself. And we explained it, that Tzemach Tzedek explained it in such a beautiful way, that many times when we go and we start to think about Hashem, when we start to think about our struggles, or we start to think about living in this world of galus, we kind of get stuck in the previous stuff. We either get stuck trusting the doctor over Hashem, or we trust our own calculations over our trust for Hashem. And it says a very, very famous talk that Shalom Mordechai Bashkin, when he spoke about being, the first time he spoke for women in Crown Heights after coming out of being released from prison, he spoke about this concept of in Shar Bitachon, we have to make sure to trust the Abuster, because if we trust anything else other than the Abuster, so then we're trusting both things, and then we're putting doctor and Hashem on the same level, and that it just can't be. So again, I'm not saying don't listen to your doctor, and I'm not saying don't go to your doctor. Chas v'shalom, the Abuster, gave us doctors for a reason. What I'm saying is your comfort, your trust, your feeling of wow, I'm doing the right thing, or it doesn't come from anybody else or anything else other than the Abuster himself. And so we need to not get stuck along the way with our trust on anything other than Hashem. Now, another beautiful part of this is that the Alter Rebbe was so focused. It says, the Tzemach Tzedek tells a story, a mashal to explain this, that Imagine if all of us get, I mean, big lahavdil, but all of us get this, all expenses paid ticket to go speak to the president of the United States. And we start walking down, and all of us together as a group, we start walking down all the paths and all the hallways and all the doorways to get to the Oval Office. And along the way, what do we see? Wow, a gorgeous, painting from so-and-so. And wow, this gold piece from so-and-so. And we get enamored by all the beautiful things we see along the path on the way to see the king. And if we stop and we lose the tour guide who's headed straight for the Oval Office, then we miss the point of our trip. And so the Tzemach Tzedek explains that many of us, when we learn Chassidus or when we start to appreciate different things, or even as our neshama gets more sensitive to Kedusha, we might say, wow, this is Olam Haba. We have to work in our schar to get Olam Haba, and we have to work to get, all these rewards. And not only that, but we want Gan Eden. I want to have a taste of this Gan Eden that Chassidus and Kabbalah speak about, and it's so beautiful and it's so sweet, and my neshama is going to appreciate it so much. And we get stuck along the way, not really focusing and walking straight to Hashem. We need to get straight to the Abuster himself, and it's such a powerful message to learn, to try and focus on Hashem himself. And not only that, but if that's a bit too hard, because we're, as we said in the second Maamar, we're terrestrial beings, and the Abuster is an infinite godly whatever, can't even call it an infinite godly Abuster, because you can't even call him an existence. So we might not feel like it's relatable. Like, what do you mean I should focus on Hashem? What does that even mean? I have to understand Hashem a bit more, which by the way, that's the whole point of Chassidus. We're working on learning Hashem so that we can connect to him. Just like any good date, right? You have to set the time and get to know the person and see if, let's get to know you a little bit more. Even a good friend. We spend that time, quality time together, bonding with a friend to be able to get to know them and get to know more. So the more time you spend learning Chassidus and learning about the Abuster, the more you'll get to know him, the more you'll have an easier time loving him. Not only that, but we can practice this concept in our personal lives right now. If you have someone, not if, I'm sure every single person on this watching this has someone that they love or they connect to or they bond with, and we need to set that time or that mindset to appreciate them for who they are, not just what they do for us, not just the pleasure that we get from them taking care of us, but really setting that time and say, wow, I love you for who you are. I love you for not what you give me, but who you are as who you are. And it's a really beautiful feeling to feel somebody loves you for who you are, regardless of what you do or what you don't do. So again, another beautiful message. It gave me a lot of inspiration. Now when I say Shema when I say Shema, when I daven, or even when I say Shema with my kids, one of the beautiful parts of the Maamar we spoke about is B'chol me'odecha, right? B'chol nafshecha, b'chol levavcha, b'chol nafshecha, b'chol me'odecha, right? So B'chol me'odecha is this concept of going beyond your limitations. You can push yourself in many, many ways beyond your limitations that you feel. And again, this is a very big theme of Pesach, but how much more so we can live with this in every aspect of our lives. That if there's something holding you back, you can say, no, ad kan, like finish with this, and we're going to move forward. I'm gonna go with all my strength, without limitations, moving forward. And the Maamar even gave specific examples, if you'd like to take those examples as well, which are the three pillars in which the world stands, which is Torah, Avodah, and Gemilas Chasadim. So Torah means learning more Torah, working on your learning, that it's not just, it doesn't go in one ear and out the other, but hopefully you're really appreciating what you're learning. Avodah is your davening and working on yourself. And again, davening isn't mumbling words. I mean, some of us do mumble words, but the point of davening isn't to mumble words. The point of davening is to have a moment of introspection, to have a moment to think, wow, there's the Abuster and there I am. And through the levels of davening, I can lessen the separation between where I am and where the Abuster is, right? When we wake up, my da'ani, we're very self-aware of our needs. We're thirsty, we're hungry, we need to go to the bathroom, we need to get dressed, we need to like, and we have this concept of working towards having more of appreciation to Hashem, and that way we can live with our Hashem glasses. So a big part also of davening is to come out of davening by the end of it and have a deeper awareness, whether it's in mayach and leiv, in your meaning in your mindset or in your heart, or even just some of us have tough time davening and we're busy and we get caught up, and at least your neshama got a reboost, like a recharge, charging of inspiration every time you daven, right? And Gemilas Chasadim. So Gemilas Chasadim, the example the Rabbi gives is giving extra tzedakah. Right now we've been asked by the Rabbanim Badatz of Crown Heights to please give extra tzedakah today. So if I understood the letter correctly, I think that's what I'm pretty sure it was meant today. And really to even just Gemilas Chasadim in general, make a phone call somebody who you haven't spoken to in a while, check up on them. Even just send them a text and say, hey, I haven't seen you in a while. I know we're all in quarantine. How are you guys doing? Or how are you doing? Right? So Gemilas Chasadim, try and do kindness. Turn outwards. Think about how we can give to someone else, how I can help somebody else have an easier, better life. Okay, second maamar. Incredible maamar about Achron Shel Pesach, and it's actually, one of my favorite parts about it was this whole concept that now we took it. And yes, we did speak about Mashiach in the first maamar, but I feel like the emphasis on Mashiach for Achron Shel Pesach was even bigger. And we lived with this concept of what's going to happen when Mashiach comes in comparison to what actually happened when during Yetzias Mitzrayim and Kriyas Yamsuf. I feel like that was a really, really powerful thing. And I feel like for me, it got me very excited about the coming of Mashiach. It got me very excited about the upcoming miracles we're all going to see. But I want to give a shout out to, I don't think it's considered a shout out, but I really think everybody should make a point to try and start listening to Rabbi Yossi Jacobson. He's been doing absolutely incredible programming during this quarantine time period. And one of the most beautiful things is that he's doing live, programs for children and teenagers. The teenagers one, absolutely must watch. I feel like every single person needs to watch, whether you're a teenager or not. It was so powerful. And yesterday I was watching the one for kids, or listening to the one for kids, and it was really beautiful because a child wrote in a question and asked Rabbi Jacobson, how will I know when Mashiach comes? Like, what if somebody just decides to stand up, somewhere and says, hey, hi, guys, I'm Mashiach here. And so the child asked, how will I know when Mashiach comes? And how will that be clear to me? And it was so powerful because he answered. He said, don't worry, you will know. It will be so clear that you will know. He goes, whether it'll be all over WhatsApp, it'll be all over the news, we will all know when Mashiach comes. And it's, that level, that point of view. And it got me so excited. I said, it reminded me of when Shalom Mordechai Rav Ashken came out. I mean, that was nuts. There was WhatsApps flying. I happened to actually be in 770 at a chuppah for my friend's wedding. And suddenly everyone just walked by and says, hey, Shalom Mordechai Rav Ashken came out. He came out. And they start dancing and singing right in front of 770, right in front of the chuppah. And it's a teeny tiny taste of what it's going to feel like, especially now that in the maamar, we've learned the high levels of what that type of revelation is going to be. Again, for Kriyas Yamsuf, the Abuster split all the way through the entire Kav, the entire Seder Thoughtless, and every single level in the Seder Thoughtless, in the levels, in the worlds of how the Abuster created the world. Every single level got a taste of the level above it. And how much more so, how beautiful will it be when Mashiach comes and we actually have this in a whole different level, because we'll get to appreciate not just the Seder Thoughtless for what it is and for all the levels of Seder Thoughtless, of the step-by-step process of how the Abuster created us, but also we'll get a taste, we'll get an appreciation for Hashem's desire for us, right? As we said, when you go shopping, or you see an ad online and suddenly you're like, whoa, I really have to have that, whether it's the latest cell phone or a new computer or whatever it is that it's fancy, But the first thing that comes is a desire. It's a want for that reality. And the next thing that comes is, oh, okay, now do I have the money to pay for it? Maybe I could use this as my prize for our Living Chassidus program that we're working on. Whatever it is, the next levels are how to make that a reality. So too with Hashem. Hashem's name of Havaya has two levels. The first level is his level of desire, where he wants us. He wants to create a world where we want him. He wants to create a world where we have a relationship with him. And the second part is that how does he actually create it? He makes, as I explained several times, it's like a ginormous batch of Play-Doh, right? He opens up a hole in the middle of the Play-Doh, right? That's the Malcolm Pandoy, that he opens up. Anyway, I'm like forgetting on the words, but he opens up a hole smack in the middle, emptiness, so to speak, and then afterwards he brings back in that Play-Doh, and this time he starts to shape it into separate entities. So as much as myself and the book and my water bottle and the cell phone are separate entities in this world, and they look like separate entities, in essence it is all made by the same Play-Doh, which is Hashem. The Abuster's Play-Doh makes everything, right? So once we realize that the Abuster wanted to create such a thing, and then all the steps it takes to be able to make it and to be able to shape it and form it into the world where we are, we're going to get a really powerful appreciation for all of that when Mashiach comes. So it's exciting, it's amazing, it's really, really, really powerful. And not only that, but the Abuster is going to raise us up, that our neshamas will be even higher than all of that. Just like at Kriyas Yamsuf, he raised us up from the level of below, right? That our neshamas come from this world, or they don't come from this world, but they hold in this world. And at Kriyas Yamsuf, he lifted us up to the level of Keser, that we were even above we're even above angels, and the angels had to actually walk behind us. So this whole Maamar, I feel like for me, was such a beautiful appreciation. It's such a infused, deep excitement for what's going to happen when Mashiach comes, and that it made such a difference in my life. Also, we learned a really, really powerful aspect of it is that the Abuster did this, and again, as we discussed, that in Kriyas Yamsuf, it's not like he crossed. I mean, most the opinions that we hold by, at least, it's not like the Bnei Yisrael crossed. Imagine this is the sea, this is the body of water. We didn't cross upwards and then suddenly get to a different area and wow, yay! The Abuster took us out. Took us out through the water. In essence, what we did was we kind of went in and came back out on the same side. And it's a very puzzling thing. Why would Hashem do what we already explained, and explains in Gemara that it's a difficult miracle, and he wouldn't even do it to get us out of there. He brought us right back into the same side. How does that even make sense? So we learned that it wasn't just about water. It was about giving us, which are terrestrial beings. We are not water-based beings. We are earth-based beings, so to speak, giving us a taste of what it's like to appreciate your source, like water creatures, right? So water creatures can't live outside their source of water. If they come out of it, they have deep appreciation, because if they come out of it, chas v'shalom, they're dead. Meanwhile, for us, it's the polar opposite. If we get buried, chas v'shalom, in dirt, which is technically where our body comes from. That's the polar opposite. We don't survive such a thing. And not only that, but let's say we focus on the fact that our breath, the Abuster blowing breath into us, is our source of life. The Abuster blowing breath into us is our source of life. If that's what we focus on, so then how much more so we don't really think about how much we breathe. I mean, how many of us say in, out, on a constant basis, and say, wow, thank you, Hashem, for every breath you gave me. As I said, one of the stories, I'm about to close up, but one of the stories I said about someone who survived the coronavirus, and he got a bill of like, I think it was like $10,000 or something for the 10 days he was on a ventilator. It's like $1,000 a day for the ventilator usage. And then at the end he starts to cry, and the hospital staff, they're like, no, don't worry, we have payment plans, we can figure it out. And again, I don't know if the story is true, I don't remember exactly where I heard it, but it's a good mashal regardless. But he says, no, I'm not crying because of that. I can afford it. Baruch Hashem, I'm wealthy and I'm able to afford this. I'm crying because I didn't realize I haven't said enough thank yous to God for all the breaths that he gives me for free. I haven't paid him for the ventilator use, so to speak, that he gives me every single day. So we have to appreciate our source. We have to appreciate that the Abuster breathes life into us. We have to appreciate that the Abuster takes care of us. We have to appreciate that the Abuster creates us. We have to just love the Abuster. That's really be all end all of both of these maamarim. Let's live with these concepts. Let's go beyond our limitations. Let's have an excitement and an appreciation for Mashiach coming. Let's love Hashem, because he's the one that makes us, and he's our source, and he's our creator. And we can love him for who he is. And in order to know who he is, we need to spend a little bit more time, or we need to spend a conscious amount of time, whatever that is for you, learning about Hashem, learning about Mashiach, learning about, getting excited about both of these things. So I want to wish everybody a wonderful day, an incredibly inspired and in love. Have a day when you're in love with the Abuster, and I hope that feeds into Shabbos. And I'm going to finish off with this, but Shabbos, what we put into Shabbos, the work we make, and again, this is a beautiful maamar we should learn at some point, it's the wedding maamar, as they call it. But what we feed into Shabbos will give us back tenfold. So the fact that we're learning Chassidus and we're getting excited about it before Shabbos, and now we're going to hopefully take some time on Shabbos to think about Hashem. We're going to take time to think about our davening, not just say mumble words, but really think about what you're saying. Think about if it takes reading the English translation, so go read the English translation. It'll be a beautiful experience for you. And from that Shabbos, you'll come out refreshed and inspired, and that Shabbos gives you brachas for the whole next week. And we continue on in this incredible cycle. And we'll also be starting next week with our new maamar. So I can't wait to see everybody Sunday, Mitzvah Hashem. I can't wait to see you guys Shabbos when we're in Yerushalayim with Mashiach. But if not, I'll see you guys Sunday, Mitzvah Hashem. Have a wonderful day, and Mazel Tov on finishing.